All right, if you are a new tarot reader, you want to learn how to grow your tarot card reading to be able to read for other people, maybe start your own tarot card reading business, then this one is for you. We are going to walk through step by step how I, as a 15-year tarot card reader, approach a 3 card reading. If you're going to get started in tarot card reading, one of the easiest ways to start reading for other people is to do 3 card spreads. It's because they're a little less complicated, but you still get some good, valuable information that can be very helpful to people. So what I did here is I just pulled 3 random cards, and then let's say this is someone coming to you for a relationship reading. I get these kind of questions sometimes where people would say, hey, I've been in this relationship for a while. I'm just kind of a little bit uncertain about it. I'm not sure where it's going long term, and I'd like some clarity as to, really, should I continue to pursue this? Is this really right for me long term, or am I going to kind of grow out of this relationship? So that's a very typical, kind of question that I get in regards to relationships, especially if it's one you've been in for a year or so and you're just not sure, if you're going to get married or whatever the case might be. So when you look at this here, we currently have something that's very interesting. Actually, it's a really great, perfect 3 cards to pull because we have a major arcana card, which is very important, especially in 3 card readings. We have a court card, which is actually very difficult for people to read. So if you're watching this at home, not along if the court cards tend to kind of pop up and ruin your readings or make your readings more clunky, especially in a 3 card reading. If you get one court card, it can be, and you're not sure how to really handle those, they can get really clunky really fast. And then we also have just a minor arcana card as well. So many people say, well, how do I approach a 3 card reading in this situation? In my tarot reading course, if you want to get into that, links in the bio, I kind of teach about the center of gravity. And since the major arcana card here is going to be more important, or at least take, as a message from your spirit guides or guardian angels, it's going to take on a more important role in this tarot card reading. So everything kind of heads in that direction. Whether that card is the first card, the second card, or the third card, it really doesn't matter because its influence over the other cards is going to be really strong and apparent. You'll see that as we get through into this reading. And then you got, of course, the court card here, and then you've got the 8 of Cups. So let's just go through this one card at a time, and I will associate each of them. How I go through this in my head, I kind of go through this process really quick when I see the cards, but this is almost the slow version of my brain thinking as you go through it, so that you can see how I approach this and try to connect it for yourself as well. When I see, relationship reading, trying to talk about the question of should I continue in this relationship, is it right for me long term or not, and you see the High Priestess card come up. The High Priestess is deep, watery moon energy. This is like, Cancer in astrology. You can see here you've got, the crescent moon, the full moon, another crescent moon at her feet here. Lots of blue for watery emotional stuff that kind of also signifies, this kind of moon energy in astrology, as well as this kind of deep, water energy. And what this really says is that at its core is trust your intuition or trust your gut, right? So no matter where else the rest of the cards are reading goes, this overarching theme from the major arcana card, from your spirit guides and guardian angels, they wouldn't be coming into the situation or, speaking up if they didn't think it was important for you to get this message and kind of keep you on track to where you're meant to be in your life path. So in this case, let's move to the next cards and see how this kind of connects. The Queen of Cups is a very interesting card because, and I do see this so many times when people come to me with this type of reading. So in the, I teach the 4x4 method in my tarot course of how to read the court cards, which really gives you, instead of the, I would say you, in order to be a successful tarot card reader, you have to go to make the court cards your friends, right? They can't be something you fear or, react to when you see them come up in your readings. It's something you have to really master and really enjoy and appreciate when they come into the reading. In this case, it's almost a humorous joke between me, the tarot card reader, and the querent, or the person asking the question, because this is a very common response or common thing that I see in some of these relationship readings. So on its face, if you're a new tarot card reader and someone asks you, oh, should I continue in this relationship? They've got some doubts or some concerns, or they're just not sure where it's going and they're looking for some clarity. But what this card actually here tells us is something a little bit different. So the Queen of Cups, since cups deal with, again, with your water sign emotional energies, obviously a relationship reading, seeing all these kind of watery signs and cups energy makes perfect sense. In this case, the Queen is, you can see this is the only cups card in the entire tarot deck where the cup is closed, because the Queen is the master of our emotions, but it's internal mastery. So in this case, what this tells you is that this is not a new question that's coming to you as the person asking this question. This is something you probably thought about a lot more or spent a lot of time with it before you decided to go ask a tarot card reader. This isn't some flippant thing that you just decide, wake up one morning and said, I wonder if I should ask someone where this is going. So that's why it's funny when then person kind of asks, says, I'm not sure what to do about this relationship. When you see this card, especially in the combination with the High Priestess, you say, actually, you already know, right? You are coming to me for clarity and confirmation of what you already know in your heart to be true. And this is my sign. This is really what's validating that for me through the tarot cards. And that's where my role is to give them the confidence of trust their gut, trusting what you know and what you're feeling. Because if this card, that's why I love the court cards, because of three-dimensional energy. If this was a page of cups, it might say, you really have no idea, but yeah, now is a good time to think about it, whether you've passed a milestone in your relationship or maybe you've talked about moving together or whatever the case might be. The page energy, which is really low maturity, would say, okay, maybe that's a good time to think about that. The night energy, which is also fairly immature, might say it's too soon in this relationship to actually think about this question. Maybe this is someone you haven't known for very long and you haven't been together for very long, so there's no way you can really have enough information about whether this is what you want long term. But once you get to the Queen and King energy, which is very mature energy, that's very strong. The Queen energy says, in your heart and in your gut how you feel about this relationship. We've sat with it enough time in your mind now. If there's a King energy, you would take action upon it and you might break up or end the relationship, whatever the case might be. But in the Queen energy, it's internal mastery. Instinctively in your gut, you thought about it in your brain, you just haven't shared this information with anybody. That's what the Queen of Cups energy is telling me, is that you already made up your decision internally about this relationship. You're just not ready to tell anybody what your decision is. And so when you pair that with the High Priestess really saying, trust your gut, now these two cards together become a very powerful and important part of this reading. And this is where some people say, can you really get significant value out of a 3-card reading? I say, absolutely you can, because, when you get some of the synergy between just a couple cards, it's like doubling down on the messaging. It's like the High Priestess, if you only drew one card from someone and they said, hey, what should I do about my relationship? And I say, well, the Major Arcana card says, trust your gut. They may say, okay, that's kind of interesting. I kind of believe you. But now in just the first two cards of this reading, we get, actually, you know what? Internally you've mastered it. So you kind of get the confirmation, which is your spirit guides and guardian angels are telling you to trust your gut in this situation and listen to it. Really, because you kind of already have the intuition of whether or not this is going anywhere. And that's probably the reason why you're even asking this question in the first place to a tarot card reader, because regardless of how the relationship is or how it's going, you've got some doubts. And so the Queen of Cups really reinforces that and says, internally you've kind of already made up your mind as exactly what you want to do. Now, obviously, that can cause you some pain. A lot of people live their lives afraid of causing some short-term pain for other people, and you don't want to be callous with other people's feelings. But if you know in your heart it's not the right relationship for you long term, then you are doing each of you and the other person a disservice, and it's actually more caring to actually kind of let them go at that time rather than string them along into a relationship that probably doesn't have a lot of probability of success in the long term, if that makes sense. So seeing these two cards come together, this is where I would push back on the person and say, actually, you know what, you really know. You've sat with this, you've spent enough time. The Queen of Cups is telling me this is not the first time you're thinking about this or asking this question. You know in your heart what it is you want to do with the situation, and the High Priestess is telling you to trust your gut and really quiet all the other conversations or noise or distractions from other people, or truly honestly even how the relationship is going, because you could have these feelings and these doubts for a long period of time, but the relationship could actually be in a period where things are going really well. It's like, hey, I've had these lingering doubts or feelings about where this relationship's going long term. However, right now we went on vacation, whatever the case may be, and things seem to be really good. So I'm kind of conflicted with, where things have been working out in the short term, where we've been kind of happy or being able to enjoy each other's company, but it hasn't erased the lingering questions in my mind about where this relationship is going long term. And that's where then you get to the 8 of Cups here, which tells me really where this situation is going. So once you really understand this and really get that connection, this doubling down on the fact that, well, you already know your decision about this relationship, and your spirit guides or guardian angels are really giving you the advice of trusting your gut because they know the decision that you made is already the right one. In this case, kind of why I'm predicting where it's going, because it could be, oh, just go ahead and get married. But in this case, the Eight of Cups is telling us this is almost like a spiritual awakening or looking for some more spiritual meaning, going on a spiritual journey. So the Eight of Cups is, having in numerology, 8 is, as I teach in my course, 8 is pretty far along in numerology. And so you'd say, well, here you have a lot. You've got a lot of things emotionally fulfilling, which is telling me that this is not some kind of horrific relationship where, all your friends and family would say, run away from this right now. It just might be one of those situations where you're two nice people, but the relationship isn't going to work long term, or it's not going to meet your long term needs. And that's completely okay to know and accept and kind of move on from. So when you see the Eight of Cups, it says you have a lot going on for you. It's not like you're in dire straits or you're not emotionally fulfilled, but there's something missing, and you're looking for that something else that's missing. And that's why this, again, has a lot of watery energy. And when you see peaks and mountains in the tarot cards in the background, it really tells you there's some other goal. There's something else you're searching for. And again, here's that moon energy again. You're looking for something more fulfilling. And usually when I see the Eight of Cups, even though it's a minor arcana card, it kind of tells you you're looking for a more spiritual calling. You're looking to feel more connected with your life path and what you're meant to do in this lifetime, and you're willing to leave behind kind of the comforts of where you've been right now in pursuit of that. In the short term, it can be very difficult because you're going to feel like, I always say the enemy of great is always good, right? Good is the enemy of great, being things are good, the relationship is good, they're a good person, but nothing's great. It's nothing really I want it to be. And this is the kind of what this card is saying, is this is why, the first two cards, if you're a new tarot card reader, you could take as, okay, you're trusting your gut and the decision. If you're really unsure about as a tarot card, you're like, well, could you please just let me know what your decision is, because that would make my life easier as a tarot card reader. But in this case, we kind of know the decision, because when you see the Eight of Cups, it's saying, okay, yeah, even though however the quality of this relationship is, you're willing to leave it behind and move on because you're looking to seek something else. And you can even see it here. You've got a lot of watery blue and all that kind of stuff. This is the first time we see red being a sign of passion or color of passion. It's saying you're looking for something else that will really connect with you on a deep emotional, spiritual level, and we're really almost like a more passionate relationship where you just know instantly this is the person that you're meant to be with, and that's really what you're looking for, and you're not going to settle for anything less than that. So this is how now by this just 3-card reading, we really have a lot of depth to the story about where this relationship is going, and how likely, as long as they, they kind of get their strength together, they're likely going to leave this relationship in pursuit of something else, because you have each card almost confirming each other. This is where it's so valuable. Even just a 3-card reading, they come with all these connections between the cards. High Priestess saying, trust your gut, and, listen to your intuition about what it is. Queen of Cups says, you've actually gone ahead and done that. You've been listening to yourself, and you actually have been sitting with the situation, and you know what it is what you want to do. You just haven't taken action on it. And then the Eight of Cups is saying, likely you are going to take action on this, and you're going to leave the situation behind in pursuit of search for something better. So this is how, in my mind, hopefully within the first 30 seconds of seeing these cards, knowing that it's a relationship reading, this is what I'll quickly have in my head and what I'll break down, so that before I even talking with this person, I can kind of put it together and say, okay, you got a major arcana card, we should listen to that one, and it's telling me to trust our gut. So that's going to be an overarching message across everything. I have a Queen of Cups, which tells me on the emotions plane, which is a relationship, you already know what you want to do. You're just really coming to me for the confirmation and the clarity and the clarification that it's okay to take this step, because that's not to say it's not going to be painful, it's not going to be sad, it's not going to disappoint some people, but it's okay to do that, especially when it's, it's not just a willy-nilly, I got bored, so I'm just going to end this relationship. It's in the pursuit of something else. And as long as you gain the clarity on what it is that you're going for and what it is that you're seeking, because you can't just go on a journey and wander aimlessly. But if it's like, okay, I've learned from this relationship what I want in my next relationship, and I've learned that I want a more passionate, more spiritual connection, or something that I know instantaneously that this is what I want long term. Because the relationship may be good right now, it may be fine day to day, but if it doesn't check all the boxes what you're looking for long term, then it's not going to last. And as a tarot card reader, these are the steps that I take to make sure that as I do 3 card readings for people, I get the most information out of the cards, the most accurate information. And also I'm just able to help them as best as possible by clarifying what they're already feeling. And these are the types of readings when you get to someone, where they'll really, if they're skeptical, they'll start to really understand and believe in tarot, because they'll say, oh, you got it. You know exactly what I'm feeling. I haven't told anybody, but I can't believe you knew that I already made my decision to leave this relationship. I'm just too scared to do it, or I haven't told anybody about it. And it's all the Queen of Cups energy that's telling me that, right? In the same way, at least you can help and focus them on, make sure when you choose to leave this, you get the clarity of what it is that you're actually looking for, so that when you find it, you'll actually know what it is and you'll appreciate it, and then that will move you forward. So as a tarot card reader for reading over 15 years, this is what goes through my head, and hopefully a short period of time, so that as I begin a reading, I can get the most value for a tarot card reader as well. And if you want to learn more, you can check out my other videos or check out my course in the link below.